All right, so we're back with another one. And as usual, there's a little bit left to set up on the way. Here we go. Shout out to my sister and our main moderator already in the chat. Also, shout out to my sister taking care of my mom and her lack of heat right now. It pays for you to have a good sister, right? If you don't have one, I don't know what to tell you. So just give my sister real quick. Yeah, siblings, dope siblings are a blessing in itself. Kind of make this life worth living. And then especially if you get like a brother like mine that gives you the most adorable niece in the world, then who's better than you? So yeah, we're gonna try a couple different angles with this stream. Hopefully, I may be biting off more than I can chew, but we'll leave that for now. First of all, it's been a week with the algorithm with yesterday's outage. I was trying to do another live stream, literally impromptu, talking about a little bit of the Valentine's Day fallout. And I know, right, in my heart of hearts, it was going to go viral. It was going to go viral, right? And that's why YouTube had to shut it down. So blame YouTube for that. Don't blame me. But it was really simple, right? It was shout out to Jazz and my brother. Yeah, listen, my niece just said hi. And yeah, my niece is literally the cutest thing on this planet. You don't have to argue with me. If I showed you a picture, it would again shut down YouTube. We don't want to do that, right? We want to have a good show. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to keep this thing going. Check a few things as normal, stream health, that sort of thing. That stuff that's not really important for you guys. So yeah, we're running it both on both streams, on the vertical and on the horizontal. We're just trying to maximize maximize attention. We want attention is the currency. Attention is the algorithm right now. But like always, we're going to hop back and forth to both chats. Should be active in both of those as we tend to do. That's how it is. But we'll do a little bit of that Valentine's Day stream, right? I got a little bit in my head, off the top of the head. But as usual, we want to talk about what was first. Yeah, exactly. You got to check all the gizmos, right? Now, bro, you understand. We grew up the same. We watched the same thing. Grew up on the same roof, under the same sun. You got to pluck hit the gauge, right? When you're running on, when it's going on E. When you pluck it, you give yourself a little bit of extra fuel. Just pluck, pluck, pluck. But as always, we want to start with the most popular, story post for the week. And it was about that sort of, you see with relationships now or with commentary, a lot of it just becomes like canned responses, canned rejoinders. You're just supposed to say, if I say, well, what do you bring to the table? I am the table, right? That's not real discourse, right? Especially if I'm genuinely asking you, what do you bring to the table? As in, I don't know you, right? I'm curious about who you are, what your motivations, what's dope about you. Tell me, I'm interested. I want to know. You get me with the rejoinder. So one of the new rejoinders right now is, men don't pursue like my daddy did. Well, we're not your daddy, right? Your daddy was probably awesome, right? He could do a lot of stuff we can't do today. Just the same way us as fathers are not going to be able to do, right? Well, the next generation, they're not going to be able to do stuff like we did. Generations change, the world changes. Therefore, I don't have a farm. I don't know how to like milk a cow. I don't know how to do these things. But because your daddy altruistic to you as he is, as you should be, right? As I'm going to be towards my niece, right? Yeah, you treat your daughter differently than the woman you're trying to date. It's a weird rejoinder. It's a very weird thing to say. Okay, your daddy spoiled you, or you called your dad and said, hey, I'm stranded, I'm out of gas. And he drove to the gas station, got a can of gas, filled it up, drove to you, put gas in your car, sent you on your way with a kiss on the forehead and $40 so you go fill up your tank. Yeah, that's what dad's supposed to do. Your dad's also supposed to teach you, you better pluck that, that gauge, right? Make sure you're not out of gas. You got to keep going. You got to keep moving, right? we don't have the same relationship with you as you would have with your kid. It's a weird rejoinder to say, but it's just another thing to make it seem as if there's something wrong with men. You're not doing something that's obvious that you should be participating in. No, your dad treats you a different way than we do, right? And if you want to keep harkening back to days of old without looking and seeing how society has sort of changed, you're leaving a lot of, shitty behavior on the table, right? In general, we think we've changed for the better, or we think we've changed in line with what society needs. That's the hope. Sort of, I get some of the fear. When you look at kids today and you say, why can't you do the things that I could do? Well, they didn't play outside, right? They didn't drink from hoses. They didn't skin their knees. They don't know how to play freeze tag. They don't know manhunt, right? They don't know who's the fastest on the block. These were important things to know back in the day, right? They don't know about the dangers of quicksand or about how cliffs seem to be ever present danger in your life. And you need to be able to pull yourself up from a cliff. But, they didn't play with dangerous toys like Skip It, right? They didn't have these things. They don't know how to draw, like use chalk and, make the boxes on the screen. They don't know how to do any of that. Listen, you play a kid in with Connect 4 today, you'll stomp them. You'll stomp them, right? They didn't play this game. But it's not as if it makes them less than. It's just a different generation. They're going to be the determinants of how they want to move and especially how they want to date. They get to make that decision. We don't date like our parents did. You would call them creeps. You would say, when you hear a lot of stories that we romanticize, you actually have to pull yourself off a cliff. That's why pull-ups are important. All right. If you can't do pull-ups, think about who's supposed to then save you if you're on a cliff. You should at least have that outline in your head. And quicksand, we could all work on that more together about how you escape quicksand. That's important to know. Bugs Bunny taught us that, but these kids don't have Bugs Bunny like in the same way we did. They don't know if it's duck season or it's rabbit season. But again, it's a different generation. One of the things they get to determine is how they're going to date. And what I like is covering a lot of these things where it shows you, yeah, man, they're not with some of these shits, right? The way you could sort of shame men today into doing the things that you want them to do. Yeah, those techniques don't really work on the younger generation. They're just like, no, it doesn't make sense. One of the awful things you also see, because it's a different generation. They believe more in equality in terms of the fists. They do, right? They do. It's not like that. Like if we were the last bastions of chivalry, then we held on to it, and it's probably gone right now. So it's something that you might want to pay more attention to if you're out there running and gunning. Be careful, be careful, be careful. As always, listen, before we get start the show, like the stream, consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here, if you're following your way in and out. If you're on the vertical side, you want to look at on the horizontal, just go ahead and click. You should be able to do that. So we, as usual, we got the segments to the shows, and I think we got a pretty enjoyable show today. So for all you that have returned, I thank you. Your attention here makes it worth it, because there's sometimes when it just feels like it's me against the algorithm. And the algorithm is a cold, unfeeling beast that just wants to throw you in quicksand and then throw you off a cliff when you're tired. That being said, let's continue. So again, Love and Money, right? Not the favorite, right? But we got some good ones, I think. We got some good ones today.
Oh my goodness.
That's the largest diamond we have in the store right now.
How much is it?
$30,000.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's my house. For a lifetime of memories, Earl.
She said 30,000.
My eye's gonna start watering. Look at it. It's just blinging.
Well, I'm glad you're in the fantasy. Wake up.
Our bridezilla goes from dazzled to frazzled as she confronts her fiancé's tight wallet.
I don't believe you right now. I really don't.
So shame on that the narrator, right? Shame on who wrote that script. His wallet is tight for $30,000 for a ring, right? And I don't want to stereotype, right? We want to be like beyond that, right? We want to have a better understanding that sometimes the way people present themselves when they when they show up to places, it shows like, economically where you are. $30,000. I could do a lot with $30,000. And for someone, you just want it because what? Right? What? And this is the difference when you have an emotional decision versus a practical, logical sense, right? It's hard for you to wait, is that my mom saying that? uh Listen, we always got to pause the show when family jumps in, and my mom is probably relating something to me through my sister. So I have the best mom in the world. That's obvious because she gave us the best children in the world. So yeah. But yeah, 30,000, right? 30,000. This is ridiculous. If I was going to spend something like that, my family would assault me, right? Assault me. The- r- Without a doubt. Without a doubt. But like we're saying, there's an emotional decision, an emotional push versus a logical one. And unfortunately, when it comes down to gender dynamics, you usually lose to the emotional one. It makes you feel like this. This is what usually happens. Of course, my mom should be cheesing. We love her, right?
You're being way too cheap right now. You're looking at value of something when it's sentimental. It's memories.
We over budget.
Budget has nothing to do with these rings. You telling me I'm not worth 30,000?
There it is. Right? Right? How do we put that politely? Say, yeah, I don't. You're not. It's not that you're worth. Are you supposed to say like, oh, you're priceless, so we can just avoid the spending of it all entirely?
Baby, I ain't worth 30,000.
If I'm worth it, I'm worth it. Get the ring.
You don't need that ring. I don't need it.
You really push me right now. I want the ring. 3 carats.
Listen,
3 carats.
That's significant. 3 carats, and I guess it's going to be for bragging rights, right? We understand that. That's what it's going to be. That's all it's going to be about. But when you get someone that's pushing you with that emotion, you're more likely to fold because somehow, again, this is part of what our generation has accepted. This is part of dating. This is part of courting. I'm sort of responsible for keeping your emotion. As a man, I'm responsible for keeping your emotions within optimal range. Rather than saying like, no, there's so much we can do with this 30,000, and outside of it just looking good, making you feel good, this is the type of setback it's going to be. If you want to continue to try to cajole me and trick me and push me emotionally, I'm just gonna gotta say, like, I gotta step out of here. I can't be part of this. Right. And I know, listen, I like to find different sounds to use because I think it makes things enjoyable. And um this one just, I think it fits.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Yeah, I mean, how do you justify that? Even when she put it on her finger, it just, I understand you need something big because she has like really thick fingers, and I'm trying to be as polite as possible with that. But it made I didn't track down the end of that episode because I just hoped in my heart that he did the right thing and absolutely did not purchase anything like that. If anyone is familiar with that and knows a follow up, I'd be interested to see. Let's get to you.
What are some things you look for in a man?
A provider.
Okay. That's it.
Yes, a provider. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Financially, definitely. Deal breakers is a man who
That sounded like Fallujah, right? That sounded wild.
is not currently walking in his purpose.
And he's like, I still love you. And I'm like, this is exhausting, you know? Like, we are never getting back together. Like, ever. No!
Getting back together.
Or are you a full 100% entrepreneur?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Entrepreneur, looking for a provider. Got you.
Entrepreneur looking for a provider. Entrepreneur of 10 years now.
Talk your talk.
10 years.
You better talk
2016 is the new 2026.
That's
10 years.
That's a fact. I did the math. That's a fact.
What are some things you look for?
Listen, again, right? This is, she was telling him, I've been doing this for 10 years, right? This is not hard. This is easy for you to understand, right? Again,
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
whatever reason he couldn't do, she's trying to make it seem like he couldn't understand 10 years, right? From 2016. If you've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, right? And statistically, most businesses fail within 5 years, right? Even the IRS will give you a gimme. Like for 5 years, we expect you not to turn a profit. But even then, when we say entrepreneur, it's a very broad term. Even if you're saying, and we'll give her the benefit of the doubt, you're doing incredibly well as an entrepreneur, you still want a man that's going to be 100% provider. At what point are we going to stop and say, can we sit down and look at things just from a fiscal sense, where we want to create a system where we both feel like we're represented, that we both feel like we're getting something from this exchange, where it makes sense for us to do this thing back and forth together, rather than it just be this expectation that a man is supposed to be the end all provider. If he doesn't do it, then it doesn't get done. At some point in time, we're going to have to return to some sort of normalcy in the way we think, where it's not just simply, you have to do this as a man, period. If you don't do it, then somehow your worth is less. It doesn't matter. We have to find a better way of doing this thing called life together. That's my opinion. That's what I would hope. But I like that it sounded like the OK Corral, for a second.
Denise, how are your wedding plans coming along?
They're not.
Now, let me give you some backstory, right? Now, I've got a couple of these clips, not here because we don't want to cheese. We want to give you some variety. But this show has couples, and it's like on a lie detector that you answer the questions backstage, and then you say what you said in front of the stage. Each right answer gets you more money. Unfortunately, I have not seen one instance where they did not go for the juggler. And by the juggler, I'm like, we're asking you questions that are supposed to ruin your relationship if you're telling the truth. And all of them seem very, very geared towards, hey, what were you doing? And hey, there's your spouse sitting right there. Or there's your mom, there's your dad, there's your close friends. There was one that I recorded a while ago where a single mom, she's there and her kid is there. And the kid is, by kid, I mean, he's like a teenager. And they're asking like, yo, did you ever keep their dad away from him? And she's like, yeah. Right. And I mean, she's winning money for being truthful. But you see like the kids, oh, it's not important. It's not important. Then they have a guest speaker come and it's the dad. And he asks, do you think I deserve to know my son? And she's like, yeah. And then him and the son over there hugging, and Evan, she's just looking kind of like, I got the money. Right. So here's your backstory.
Since being engaged to Jeff, have you secretly met with a former boyfriend?
That's the other thing. Your significant others, your friends and family, whoever's there, they can skip a question. They can skip you from having to answer that question, but not like continuously.
Well, we don't go into that one. Here's the replacement question. Tell me a little bit about the time when you and Jeff were separated.
We were separated.
While separated from Jeff, did you have unprotected sex with another man?
I have to say yes.
True.
Have you ever had sexual relations with any of Denise's girlfriends?
Yes.
True.
Okay. Do you want Denise to be the last person you ever have sexual relations with?
No.
True.
You got $100,000 if you stop. Only 3 more answers truthfully, and you get $200,000. That's a wedding. That's a down payment for the house after the wedding, and maybe even some champagne.
Now, to be fair, chat, would you stop right here? Right? 100,000 in your pocket, you walk away. That little back and forth, you know, hey, when we were on a break, like Ross and, you know, right, what did you do something? Yeah, I got it in, right? Yeah, I got it in. Deal with it. Okay. Maybe you can get over that, right? Maybe you can get over that. Hey, you know, you slept with some of my girlfriends or one of my girlfriends. Can we forgive each other? For $100,000, can we forgive each other? Maybe. You stop there. Or do you say, look, this is $250,000 that we could win right now? What do you do? Right? Again, bro, we were raised on the same roof. We all have this thing with gossip, right? But we don't like our own dish, like moms.
Just take the money.
Let's give it to you. Good.
Jazz, right. You need money for the divorce. But they're like, yo, 100,000 probably good, right? Probably good. But that should be fair, right? That should be a fair 50-50, right? That should be a fair split. We both embarrass ourselves out here. Better question, though, right? Better question. You guys still get married, right? Do you guys still get married? What is that?
I think you may have made a very wise decision, and I'm happy to give you $100,000. But listen, before we go, I have an offer for you. I have one question for each of you. If you agree to go backstage right now and be polygraphed on this one question, and you answer truthfully, I'll give you $5,000 each. Do you still want to get married? Whatever your truth is, however it goes, you've got $100,000. You might want to just walk off the stage and let us leave it as this.
Let's do it.
Okay? Yes? And we'll start with...
You saw she didn't want to do it, right? You saw that. You saw that. That face was a woman that's like, I don't want to do this. This stopped being fun. I didn't know you were asking those questions, or I thought we were going to get out earlier. You didn't get out earlier, and now it's time, right? It's time.
With you, Denise. Do you still want to marry Jeff?
After tonight, I'm going to have to say yes.
True.
Jeff, do you still want to marry Denise, given everything you've heard?
No.
True.
Well, your truthful answer is worth $5,000. It may prove to be worth a lot more than that. Denise,
So, where do you go from there? Right? Where do you go from there? $5,000 in your pocket. Great. You got that each, right? 5,000, 5,000. You split the 100,000 if you could do it amicably, right? Right? Let's say it's taxed, right? Obviously it's taxed. Right? So let's say that 100 goes down to call it 80, right? So 40, 45 each. You blew the whole thing up for $45,000 each. Is that worth it, right? Would you pay that? You know, I mean, we just assume that, you know, that it's going to put you in a proper bracket. If you guys have regular jobs, do you not? Better question is, do you still just say F it and get married, or do you just say, all right, shake hands, go back to that dude that, you know, you saw while we were on a break. I'm gonna go hit up one of your girlfriends and we're gonna see what we can see. Or do you just like, listen, man, we tried it. But this is a diabolical show. This is a diabolical show. But man, all right, yeah, you go home. All right, Jazz, here's a question. You take the same car, taxi, most of these things are out of state. You got to fly in. Do you still sit in, you know, 11D and 11E together? What happens now? Are we done immediately? Right? Yeah. Yeah, no, you can't go back to. You can't go back to. Hey, what happened to you guys? I had to save the date. I had to save the date. What happened? Yeah, you know what happened. we know what happened.
Women nowadays want a big wedding. They want big things. They want family. They want this. I feel like you got to be with them for such a long time. Like, it's so much commitment and everything you got to put in, and it's also put on the man. You got to make sure the wedding's paid. Sure everything's provided. You have so much responsibilities you got to put on yourself. You got to have a lot of money just to even have an apartment. And we talking about 1 bedroom. So for you to be like, yeah, I want to have just a place for myself, and then I got to move my wife into, and then move, if we got kids on top of that, then I got to pay bills, and then now you want a big ass wedding. Oh, nah, ma, I'm good. I might just have you and my girlfriend forever. Because divorce also plays a big part too. That is money as well. Like, who wants to have that after you just put in all that money towards getting a wedding? Now you got to put in all that money to get separated. It's like, and then I gotta share with you.
This sounds like the best commercial for men to not get married. Like,
yeah. Listen, sometimes when you hear people arguing for the pros of a thing, it's like, wait a second. You're making a great case for men to say why they don't want to do this thing. You're making a fantastic case. If you're saying it's going to cost for men, just like we saw earlier, we talked about earlier, it's going to cost men money, right? In order just to be, you've got to be the provider. Then you want to continue. What happens if this doesn't work out? I provided. I'm the one that put in monetarily, right? I had the big bind. I had the big blind. I put the money in, and now it doesn't. Why involve the state, right? Why involve the state? Why not get together and say, listen, you can live here. This is my place. Every 28 days, you got to leave though, right? Because we don't want you to become like get residence. Come back day 29. Right? We can do this, keep going. Or we just have 2 separate places that we maintain, and you have your space, I have my space. The point is the next generation is going to get to decide how they want these things to move, how they want it to look. It's up to them, right? It's going to be their world. And again, we're going to be the parents in Dirty Dancing. We're just going to look back and be like, oh, this is what it is. This is what it is. Right? Yeah. Send them home in the Uber together. I would love that, right? I would love that. Like, and not just like a Maury, just keep following them and see, hey, what's going on back here? We're very curious. We want to know what the tension is. I'd actually get you like a knife and see if you can cut it with butter, because that had the weirdest and the fact that they were polygraphed, right? The fact that it was polygraphed, because that's one of those situations like when your lady friend, your wife, your significant other, your girlfriend, when she asks you, do I look fat in this? Does this dress make me look fat? You're supposed to say no, right? You're supposed to lie, right? But not for $5,000. No, I'm gonna tell you the truth, right? I'm gonna tell you the truth, and if that leaves you crashing out, but the next segment, that leaves you crashing out.
I'm probably gonna see a specialist. I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. Got 100K on my.
So again, crashing out a favorite segment. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. That's why we do this, so we can get a little more exposure. We like to see what we can see. It looks like the other stream is struggling a bit, but YouTube may not be fond of me right now. But it looks like this stream is doing just fine. So we will continue, and we'll see if we can make it up on the other stream on another segment. Maybe do a little after show. But yeah, we are going to continue, and we're going to talk about pain, right? I'm not talking about Naruto, right? Bro, I'm happy you like this, and I wanted to select some good points. Sometimes it's difficult, right? Sometimes it's difficult, but we're going to select some good points here. So we're talking about pain, right? The pain of relationships, the pain of sometimes when you cannot compete, right? Because there's a saying that I picked up, it was mid last year, maybe early last year. It's not important, right? God doesn't give with both hands. Right? You can get a bunch of talent, but then there's going to be something missing. So it's only fair. That's the only way to keep things equitable.
You want to talk to me about pain, but you ain't never had your girl a dude whose whole job is to put his meat in a sock. And he dance around and he clobber women with his meat in a sock with a string up the crack of his ass. He got his meat in a sock and he beat girls in the face with it for money. He do that when he say he going to work. And his whole calling card is that he got a foot of meat. A foot of meat! What the f*** you need with a foot of meat, right? That's his calling card. And your girl f*** him and you won't talk to me about pain. You won't go pain for pain with a nigga like me that done been through the goddamn thing. Boy, I found that goddamn card. Goddamn said, said, I got a foot of holla at me. Nigga, what? You won't talk to me about goddamn pain, boy. I done been through it.
This has got to be my favorite thing I saw on the internet today. Just because delivery, the music, the cadence, all that. The music, they'll probably get this whole stream demonetized, but for the meat, we supposed to do outside of crashing out, right? I'm working with what God gave me, right? Until we make that experimental German surgery like a thing, and I'm only blaming the Germans because the Germans usually doing experimental stuff, right? But what are you supposed to do, right? Outside of crashing out and crying, do you take her back afterwards because you're just like, I don't. But then what can you do after that, right? After an actual subway footlong, has been. What are you supposed to do, right? Besides cry in the shower, with the shower running. Besides that, what are you supposed to do? Put a meat, right? Put a meat. But I think that's a worthy reason of crashing out. A not so worthy reason of crashing out, right? To set the scene for you, right? I'm a baby daddy. I'm a deadbeat baby daddy. She's moved on. She's moved into a house of another dude, and they're living in plain house together. And I'm just kind of on the outside, upset. So when things get tough, what I'm going to do? I'm going to complain and say, why are they looking to me to ask me for anything, as if my kid doesn't actually live in that house, right?
This nigga moved my baby mama in his house. That's how you know this nigga probably don't get no pussy for real. This nigga he ain't one of them for real. Cause I would never move a bitch in my house that got kids. One kid now, just one. Move her in my house and be like, damn, to ask your baby daddy if he could pay for some stuff still. That's the faggotiest shit I ever heard in my life, bro. I ain't even think of that till just now. Like, I would never. Cause if I can't do it, I know I can't do it. So I'm gonna just hit the bed and keep it moving. Let her stay with her baby daddy, right? But you niggas be so eager to try to take somebody's bitch that y'all niggas don't get yourself in a situation. Now the economy fucking up. Nigga cars start going through car problems. Now you niggas need help again.
You ever have a conversation with your mans and know that what you're saying, what you're complaining about is straight BS. It's straight BS. You're just hurt, right? And this is when we as men have to get together and say, it's okay that you're hurt, right? I get it, right? You are upset that she's moved on into a house with a guy, but yeah, hard times are gonna find us all. And it's just how much can we weather the storm? Now they're looking to you saying, yo, can you kick up? Your kid is here and we haven't required you to do anything thus far. And your rejoinder is just like, yo, look how lame you are for moving a woman that I saw fit to have a child with, and that currently is the caretaker of my child. Sometimes, we have to be able to call things fairly, right? And we have to be able to call things fairly. This is a lame dude.
Ask your baby daddy if he can, shut your ass up, nigga. Cause that's some weird shit. Cause if she, I know she came to you and told you, oh, that nigga, my baby daddy ain't shit. So if you the man, like you said you was, you gonna take her in, you gonna move her in, and that's your lady now, right? So you don't want her to interact with no other dudes at all. At the most, you want the baby daddy to be able to come and get his child at the most. But if he's still giving her money, then see me, if I really wanted to, I would still been fucking my baby mama. If I wanted to, but bitch, you just had a baby by another nigga. Ew. Yeah.
When I see a grown man talk like that, it's looking terrible, right? Ew, yuck. Listen, outside of you saying things like that, ironically, don't do that. if you're upset that she moved on, I get it, right? I get it. That used to be your thing, right? And that used to be your old thing. You want that old thing back. You're upset that the access to that old thing ain't there. I get that. But to make it seem like the guy that saw value in her and say, yo, come on through, right? I'm going to take care of you as best as I can. But now we've got another kid. And we have your kid with this dude. He needs to kick up. Times are rough. And you're out there on the outside on your phone, running around complaining about it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. These are the type of women, like men, that when women get online and start complaining about, I can't sit here and defend. I got to be like, yeah, you got a point, right? You got a point. And it's difficult sometimes jumping in there and trying to make sense, right? If it's a baby daddy, you don't want to get involved with her, right? I know you're the type to be outside just staring into the window, right? Just driving by, looking up the place up on Zillow, looking at the square footage, looking at the taxes, and be like, I would never pay something like that. It could never be me. No, listen, it's all right. It's all right. Sometimes it's you got to learn how to let go. Right? But this all comes down to sometimes you got to be very careful about the people you're choosing as your partner, not just who's going to be the baby dad or baby mama, right? Who you marry is also critically important because sometimes you could find yourself in situations that are more tense because of their presence and how they kind of move about it. It's different. But that sometimes can be exacerbated by when you have intergenerational differences. By that, I mean men of different generations behave differently. We, as the elders, understand we've got a code, right? We've got a guy code. Thou shalt not snake your brother, right? Right. This is if my brother is interested in someone, right? Then I can't be interested. If my brother gets with someone, that is my sister. I can't be like, yo, I'm gonna see what I could do. Right? I'm gonna see what I can do around the side. But these young guys, right? These young Thundercats, they're a little vicious, right? They're like the mutants.
His wife up for grabs. Hey, he's been mad disrespectful. Hey, did you get that? Larry, did you get the address?
I got the address. Yeah.
Hey, don't be mad disrespectful. Come on, man.
Good.
Listen, I know we streaming,
nigga.
nigga.
What are you doing with your hands, bro? What are you doing with your hands?
This nigga. Hey, you ready for them 100 gifted? 200
This
gifted?
nigga. Listen.
You ready for them 200 gifted? Yeah. Whoa! Whoa, 200 gifted.
I felt good.
Hey, Dean.
After all night getting shit on.
Yeah.
I was
Dean.
waiting for that fucking moment.
Dean. Hey, gift him 100 for me, nigga. Gift him 100 for me, nigga.
I ain't been sleeping. I ain't been eating ever since this nigga slapped me, bruh. My jaw hurt. I've been on.
So listen, backstory, right? Backstory. Larry Wheels is a strongman, bodybuilder, 300 pounds. Very open about the amount of stuff he's done, had to do in order to get that size. So him and this other dude, Dean the Great, they had they're on Kick, so they're streaming, and Dean the Great is trains a UFC, and he was trying to say yo, size doesn't really matter when we talk about fighting, but weight classes exist for a reason. They do. You don't have to be mad about it. So there's a show where he's really Larry Wheels is swinging the guy around like you did when they do in the movies when they're so in love, just swinging the guy by hand and just kind of tosses him on the mat. Right? He's just 300 pounds and solid muscle. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do against something like that? So they're out there. They're all doing this thing with Rampage Jackson, who is quite the instigator here. Who's quite the actual instigator? Yeah. No, Larry Wheels is definitely. We're gonna touch on some of that. Right? I'm glad you're up on it. But yeah, cuck or not, Larry Wheels is still bigger than you. Right? And for you to openly flirt, right? And I think at dinner he was asking, Larry Wheels' supermodel wife, and I use that quotations liberally, asking her if she's into threesomes, and so most of the day this guy's taking shots. We understand as men at some point you're going to cross a line and it's just going to build up unless you think you can really take that guy in a fight. What are you supposed to do?
Phone with lawyers. My jaw hurt. I can't sleep on my face. I can't sleep on my side. Shit traumatic.
I said straight up. Are you the guy that got slapped on video?
I did, but I'll slap the shit out you though.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you the inside of the house.
I'll make you another clip. Don't do that.
Seriously?
Don't do that. Alright.
If he goes broke, he's still loving him. If he was broke when he met, he wouldn't be here.
That's a bad face to have. That's a bad face to make, right? Now, yeah, cuck or not, you got to be respectful, especially when that guy. You could be. Sometimes we forget, cuck could still like be brolic, right? As we see here, that's going to be the issue. This huge guy, you just can't think that's nothing. That's nothing to worry about. That's not an issue. Huge is huge, right? But what we're seeing here, yeah, accumulation. You would see. There's this anime I used to like. I still like Baki, and one of the quotes from that is like, "What type of fool loses twice in one day?" Right? Maybe this is not the same day, but what are you doing? Now, let me issue the caveat. We always hope that this is somehow scripted, right? We always hope that this is somehow just a thing that's being thrown out there and just being said, and hopefully, this is not really what's happening in his life. But if it is, golly. But this point is important, right? This point is really important. When she's saying, the question's asked on the stream, if he wasn't rich, would you be with him? If he lost his money, would you leave him? And she said, if he wasn't rich, we never would have met. That's not an answer you want to have. That's not an answer you want your wife to be saying, especially when you don't have a prenup. That's not the answer you're looking for.
Did you see all viral clips from Rampage stream? We have. That's so funny. First of all, people writing like, "I'm feeling him touching my hair," whatever.
Are you?
Huh?
Are you?
I mean, he's fine, but no, he's not my type. For sure not. He was very nice. And yeah,
I noticed that. She didn't say no.
No, I just said, yeah, he's okay, but no, like, he's not my type. Larry giving her the death stare. I mean, all due respect to him, I like older guys. Like, I like them my age, or he's a bit younger than me.
He's 10 years younger. Do you remember, right? And this is maybe, again, another generational thing. You remember when muscles used to give you respect? Right? You remember that? When you used to do a thing that was difficult to be done, right? No, Larry did not get a prenup. Larry did not get a prenup. Larry Reels is rich, right? Larry Reels did not get a prenup. And he did not get a prenup. We all can just see the writing on the wall and where this is gonna go. Yeah. He's fine. Yeah, no. The clips the internet put together of his wife looking at Rampage Jackson, and you add some little here and there, and you start to look and say, I see their point, right? I see their point, and if I was Larry, shit. So, but people are making a very good point, a very important point, that one of the things that triggered him or set him over the top, Larry Reels, is when the dude went in for a hug to hug his wife. Rampage Jackson right then hugged his wife, right? But Rampage Jackson is an actual UFC fighter closer to your weight. You're not going to slap him. You're not going to slap him. So are we doing something that we consider just completely performative? You're doing this because you can get away with it. You can slap the dog breath out this man's mouth and keep it pushing, and nothing's ever going to happen to you. Or are you doing it because this is just for stream, this is just for kicks, this is because it's on Kick. You guys will get that later. Agree or disagree is next. So again, if you're just making it here, subscribe, hit that like button, donate to the show if you feel so inclined, share it. One of the things I got to remind myself is that this is going to be in it for the long haul. This is going to take a while to build a community. And one of all my prodigious talents, sometimes patience is not one of those. So sometimes feel free to reach out and let me know you know, that I need to sometimes relax and let the play develop. Or better yet,
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
right? Be patient, right? Be patient. Let the things come, right? But okay, agree or disagree, right? And we kind of know where we get with a lot of these things. But we want to go through it, right? We want to have the audience participation. You guys have been fantastic tonight.
So I'm calling up my wedding with me and my fiance, and this is my reasoning, right? She's a good woman. She treats me well. Last night we having a conversation, right, about our past, and she's telling me how, you know, her last boyfriend, two previous to the last one, she used to rub his feet, rub his back. She used to go online and make meals for him, and she used to fold his laundry, and she didn't know what came over her during his time, and she was just so overwhelmed with him and his well-being. And with me, she don't do none of those things. Now, she rubs my feet, but once in the blue when it really hurt. The way she was explaining to me what she was doing for the other man was like, she does the shit on a regular basis. I had an issue with that. I'm not gonna lie to you. My feelings are a little hurt. She also said, ready for this? She put him in her will. She put him as part of her trust. Her family has a trust. This wasn't even her husband yet, and she made him a part of that. She wanted
The rubbing the feet, I can excuse. That's serious. The trust, that's serious. All right. Right. The you not being in the trust shows a lack of trust. I get it. She was so in love with him. She was going to make sure he was good. He's going to be part of the family. I'm going to take care of him financially. And, you know, I get what he's saying. Right? You would like your feet rubbed more. You would definitely like to be part of that family trust.
me to sign a prenup. Okay. 2 strikes. The third one was this. She gave this man a threesome. You heard what I said. When I asked for it, she said that was beneath her, and that was she doesn't believe in doing that. But come to find out, she's done that multiple times with her past. So my thing is this. That man was good enough for you to rub his feet on a regular basis, give him pedicures, rub his back on a regular basis, put him on your will, put him as part of your trust, right? Do anything to please him physically.
Right. If he was getting everything, right? What he was getting everything, he was just like, oh yeah, yeah, you think so? You think he was paralyzed? He was like, I'm gonna take care of you, right? Don't worry about it. Right? He think he was contributing to science like Stephen Hawking, so it was like, no, we'll take care of you. I doubt it. But yeah, if he was getting everything, right? Why did he leave? I would love to hear that part of the story. That was a good point. I didn't even think about that.
But with me, it's speculation.
Who offered Jesus Christ threesomes? Who gave Jesus Christ a threesome?
Now, she never cheated on me. None of that good stuff. We get along perfectly fine. But today I realized that my future wife, doesn't love me the same way she did that man. And that's the kind of love I want my woman to have for me. I don't want to be secondary to nobody. I'm giving her my last name. Because now I'm a little afraid now things could go wrong and she might leave me.
Ding, ding, ding. Jazz, you got it. Jazz, you got it. That is, remember, that's the main event. That's the main show, right? We're tying it in, right? We're tying it in, right? We're going to put it together here, right? Yes, she loved him, and it's just your turn now. You are the settling thing that's happening. This is a whole conversation I was having today with one of my close friends, but we'll get into that, right? Yeah, I'd be hurt too, right? I'd be hurt, but is it fair to tell him to, you know,
stop it, get some help?
What was he supposed to do? Right? He's coming to the internet. Let us know.
For him or anybody else like that, because she doesn't get googly eyes. That's another thing she said. When I woke up every morning, I should text him, "Good morning, handsome." She never does that with me. She also explained to me when he was there, you know, she's wake up every morning and kiss him and make sure, you know, he went to work happy. Not with me.
She's like, get out of here, gremlin. Just roll up out of bed.
So she told me all of these things, and I'm like, well, there's no wedding.
Sis, yeah, that's good. What type of truth serum? Yeah, listen, there's a upside to this. She's very open with you. She's very open with you. Probably means she doesn't love you, right? It probably means she doesn't love you. But yo,
Straight like that in her face. She thought I was joking, but I was dead ass serious. I canceled everything today. So right now we are in the Bahamas, and I'm not doing no wedding. It's canceled. Just to my family and friends, and now you understand why. Call me petty, but I'm saving myself from heartache. Peace.
Yeah. 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 I agree. I agree. um that was the move, right? That was the move. That was the thing that needed to be done. If you were there fussing, doing everything under the sun possible, and she's just being real with you saying, "Yo, that's not it. None of this matters. I'm not with any of these things that refer to as the shits. We just not rocking." What are you supposed to do? Right? Are you supposed to sit there and try to still make this work, or you just gotta be sort of real and say, "Yo, this is over." Don't worry about the missed deposits. Don't worry about we wasted this money, this money. These people thought we were gonna be showing up. They're not around. Don't worry about any of that. Cancel it. Now, tell mommy I don't know if it's made up, right? We take everything with a grain of salt, but for this show, we're gonna say it's real. Right? We're gonna say it's real. The whole thing is it agree or disagree? Do you think he made the right decision? Right? Do you think he made the right decision? Did he say, "Oh no, I'm going to see this through"? If he knew unequivocally that he is now being, settled for, do you agree with his decision or not? I agree. I think he made the right decision. Um, Maybe you step back and you enjoy Bahamas a little more, knowing that you're going to cancel all this stuff, right? Or me, I'm petty enough to say I'm just going to book my ticket. I'm gonna head back home. But it's not as if a family has a trust, they probably have money, so she's probably the breadwinner. You had to sign a prenup. So yeah, there's not a lot you can do outside of just keeping your dignity, the remainder of your dignity, and sort of just moving on. Better he do this, right? Better he do this and find himself on the other side of things, where I think a lot of us, seeing mom, she knows he made the right decision. Right? Better he did that than he find himself on this other position where most of us as men have poised this question.
I heard my dad say to my mom one time, I was about 10, maybe 11. I was young, so I didn't understand it, but I understand it now as a 45-year-old man. He said, "Honey, do you do anything wrong? Or is it only just me? Do you ever do anything wrong, or is it only just me?" My father said that they burned in my ear, man. I learned that it's a true statement because I've had the same sentiments before in relationships I was in.
All right, outside of his improper use of sentiment, right? I think most men have been there. When you listen, when you're engaging with women, it's like, why is the critique always with me? Why is it always, if it's not done your way, then it's just inherently wrong? At a certain point in time, do you make room for the chance that you might be incorrect as well? Or, have the heavens opened up and, or, sort of said that you're the always one that's going to be right. And we make light of it, we make fun of it, we joke around with it. But truthfully, when we have the idea, this disposition that the man is always the one that needs to change or correct some sort of behavior, where that leaves us is in this sort of funk where there's no room for real communication. There's no room for any real dialogue. It's just the man is always incorrect and he always has to find something within him to change, or this behavior is wrong, or he should have done this rather than this. At some point in time, it leaves men in this smaller and smaller space. And when a lot of us don't have the wherewithal to be like the guy in Bahamas and said, "Oh, cool, don't worry about it. I'm up out of here. I'm not in the trust. I had to sign a prenup. You don't rub my feet. I'm out of here. And let's say nothing about, I'm not getting the sexual proclivities like the last guy did. I'm being settled for. It's best for me to find my way out of here." So listen, I think most men can see this, and sometimes it's hard for people to acknowledge that this is often just kind of the way society has kind of pushed things. It doesn't mean that women are infallible. I think we're all human. And originally I thought that was the Red Pill was supposed to be about, just kind of treating you, hey, women are human. They're not angelic creatures that don't fart, or if they do fart, it smells like roses, or they never do any wrong. No, they're human. Treat them as such. Sometimes humans are self-serving, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Let's just understand that. But like I said, it comes down to settling, and we never really talk about it from the point of view of what it's like to be a man that's being settled for. We make it seem as if women are just simply saying, I don't want to settle. I don't want to settle. No one's here asking you to. But when you run through this life on a sort of autopilot, right? In this autopilot, I mean, in the same sort of way we've always seen. You have your fun, you do what you want, and then you get serious in life. When you get serious, I mean, serious usually means making compromises, not the idealistic early 20s, maybe early 30s, where the world is still full of potential. It comes down to now we got to get serious. We got to lock in. Lock in usually means I got to do a bunch of stuff I don't want to do.
Should a woman settle for a man just because he has potential?
A lot of these ain't got potential. You just have dreams. What I mean by that is a lot of these men have never showed you they have potential to do anything monumental. And you always put these dreams in your mind of what these men could be. That's not what potential is. Maybe we need to flip through a dictionary. Potential means I've made steps towards being a better person. Y'all keep accepting the fact that you want to be a better person and you just see that in them. So the thing about it is you shouldn't accept a man for potential nor your dreams. Get you a man who's doing it.
I hate to show someone. But I want to be clear. If I was ever invited on, I'm going to go, right? Just because of the exposure, but I hate to show someone. Like, why is it always, when you hear the question, when the question is posed, it's always, again, from the point of view as if you are simply deserving of this man with this high potential. Like, that's not really how it is. Potential in this case is kind of like that stored energy, the potential to do. You have the ability to make these things happen, but we often forget. And I wish I could like put up just a very, very simple diagram, right, where we can understand where most people fall. When you can dream, it's easy to be the one saying that I'm settled for a guy with potential. What is he settling for? What are you looking at? Where are you on that potential sort of scale that you now become deserving of a man that is fully developed? He's fully baked in. He's doing all the things. Why do you get a man that is at his maximum, or he's used that potential and he's in that process simply because you want it? A lot of us we're attracting exactly who we are. You're with someone that doesn't do much because you don't require much. You often don't do much. You also don't do much. But you can come here in these shows and they tell you exactly what you want to hear. No one sits there and says, if you're coming here for genuine advice, outside of just making you feel good and going back home and saying, you know what? F this, you're just a bunch of potential. There's nothing I can get from you. I'm going to go leave this and find the next guy. And then put him through the same thing. But when you get to, right, and this is a little personal story. So I was at my friend's he does like these get together barbecue indoor little sessions because it's hot. But we'll sit there and we'll talk and we have these conversations, right? It's a bunch of black people. We talk about issues. And a lot of times what we'll say, I'll play devil's advocate, right? I'll stir the pot just to keep the conversation going, bring people in. But they know, one of my friends, his other friends, him and his wife are there, and she's got her friend there. We're talking about dating and the differences in sometimes with men. When you say that you want a man that does these things, right? a man that's accomplished, as well traveled, as well read, dot, 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 dot. And I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, you talking about me, guys like me. And then she's like, yeah, that's intimidating. When you're actually in front of it, that's intimidating. And that was the most honest response I've ever heard. That's intimidating. We often say we want the prize, right? We want the brass ring. But when it's in front of you, when you actually have to measure up against it, are you going to be talking about these same things about potential? Or are you going to look at it and say, yo, I was comfortable squawking about it, but look at my own potential. Look at all the other things I've got just kind of laying around, not doing anything with.
Here's the thing about potential. Potentially, that man can be your husband and the father of your children. A man that's going to love you for years to come. A man that when you call on him, he's going to be there. Or the potential is he can f your heart up, waste your time, break your spirit and your confidence, make you trip over your self-worth and doubt that. When you talk about potential, you always using the best case scenario instead of oftentimes the most realistic one. Because I'm going to tell you, if that man had the capability to take care of your heart without breaking it, why the f he fumbled it in the first place?
Now, unless they cut it in a way, at what point did he say anything about fumbling in someone's heart? Right? I'm taking just the face value of what's here. What are we talking about outside of just making people feel good? But that's my rant because, I have issue, especially with Ace metaphor. I think he's a fantastic businessman. I think all people that pander to women are fantastic businessmen. Derek Jackson got filthy rich doing the very same thing. For shame, right? For shame, but he got filthy rich doing the same thing. The problem is the conversation is really on the other side, right? And we're going to get into this right next. So listen, right? This is the main event, right? And like I was saying, like I was just starting the rant, all right? I was gearing up, I was getting ready to go. When we talk about these things, it's from that point of view where the woman is the one settling for the man, right? And it happens, yeah. You rarely hear women earlier in their life, in their 20s, talking about settling because the world is still their oyster, especially a young, beautiful woman. The world's their oyster. They're picking and deciding who or where they want to go next for vacation, whose yacht, what international destination they're going to be in, right? How they're going to get X, Y, and Z comped. The life, right? The life of luxury, they're in it. It's their world. But when you get older, now the conversation starts becoming about who am I not going to have the threesome with? Who am I not, right, going to put in my will? Who am I not going to rub their feet? Now we start talking practical. We start looking and saying, okay, instead of me saying I'm head over heels for this man, what I'm now talking about is something very simple. Who's got stability, right? Who's got the 401k? Who's got the life insurance? Who's got the plan for a future where maybe I don't have to work? Maybe if I do have to work, my contribution is minimal. Where can I find someone that would take care of my kids or I can have kids with and they will be taken care of? None of these things are sexy, right? None of these things are the amazing qualities that men are saying, this is what I want my wife to think about when she sees me. She sees a stern rock, right? She sees a rock of Gibraltar. She sees someone that is steady right here, boring and understood and will just do these things. Someone that is very comfortable with settling with a dead bedroom where things are fizzled out, where we don't have these interactions. This is what being settled for men often feels like. I'm not the sexy choice. I'm not your first choice. If there's any love available left, this is what I'm sort of getting. Right? It's the we're almost out of ketchup, so I gotta throw some water in the bottle and shake it up, and hopefully right? Hopefully I can get something that is reminiscent of a condiment. And I think this, you left, listen, travel safe, sis, right? So at this hour, right? I got it. Yeah, man. Yeah, mama's proud of me. See, I'm doing stuff. Right? You all should get a mom that's proud of you, hopefully. But the point is, when it comes down to being settled for, men aren't excited about it. It's probably one of the worst positions they find themselves in. It's one of those positions where men have steadily tried to make themselves better. When someone comes and circles the block and tries to now get their attention, that's why you get a lot of that vitriol from men. That's why you get a lot of that pushback. Like, you didn't want me back then. Why do you want me now? Now you see my value, or now you see me as a steady choice? Because most of us not going to have to glow up like Michael B. Jordan, right? Most of us. Some of us will, right? Some of us will. But most of us, when you become, and this is like a warning, right? This is a warning I found amongst a lot of men that went from being unpopular to suddenly in their mid 30s getting attention from a bunch of women. One of the tenets, right, that they talk about there is you have to be careful because there's nothing about you that changed. Right? You've always been that same type of person. Now you just have the account. You just have the wherewithal to give someone a steady sort of life. You're mistaking this attention for affection, for love. You're mistaking the attention for affection, for love, for desire, for burning desire. Now you get all the things you've always dreamed about. So you sign in, you sign on a dotted line. You jump right into it. You're excited for it. Now it's your time to shine. You couldn't be happier. But very soon, you kind of get the hallmarks of what someone who settled for you, what that relationship looks like. She's not excited to see you. She's not over the moon. She just understands, like, yeah, man, this is the choice I had to make because this is what was available to me. The game gets very cold, right? The older you get, the more experience you get, the harder it is for you to tap into that exuberant sort of love that you had back in the day. Like the gentleman in the Bahamas was saying, you were so excited to be with this man, but me, I'm a practical choice. Men, when you're being settled for, you don't want to be the practical choice. You want to be the exciting choice. You want to be the one that you're excited to see, that you dream about, that when a door opens and I come back home, you want to jump over. You want to be in my skin. Not you're like, honey, I'm home, and here's the honey to-do list, and you just like fall into the basic routines of life. That's not what men want in their partner. When they describe their wife or their significant other or who they want to be with, it's not a steady, boring sort of love they're looking for. They still want to feel like they're important, like they're chosen. Very often we see the weirdest thing, and this is the conversation I was having earlier with my friend, where you'll see plenty of accounts where women will talk about when they were with the guy they knew was never going to go anywhere with. He was just there, available. It was fun. He gets the raunchy part of it, right? He gets the naughty side. He gets all of the nasty, nasty parts of you. He gets all of that. But the one that you actually see yourself with, he gets a very tepid version of you. He doesn't get the threesome offer because you don't want him to think that you're that type of woman. You don't want him to think about you that way. He gets the unenthusiastic sort of loving. He doesn't get the, hey, we're in an Uber driving back from a date. Let us get frisky and back here. Let's do naughty, exciting things. They don't get that. They get the, hey, did you pay the American Express? Right? Hey, the insurance went up a bit. We may need to shop around. The dryer drum went out. Maybe we need to go on Maytag, right? You get that type of rudimentary sort of thing. And we're not saying we don't understand that relationships eventually sort of, there's a fizzle out, there's a peter out of excitement, but things go up and down, right? It's cyclical. But when you're settled for, There's no real thrill outside of that initial, oh my God. She finally decided to call me after, a decade and a half or during our 20-year, high school reunion, I finally got a chance to hold her hand. Now I'm excited. No. So when the conversation is always about settling, and we never talk about that, some men, they understand they're being settled for. And this is what it's keeping them from saying, I'm going to take any type of relationship seriously. If you weren't excited to be with me, then please don't be with me. I think that's a very, very simple statement for most men to follow. If you're not excited when I'm around, then I'll just not be around. It's not a dig. It's not to make someone feel bad about it. It's just be with someone that you want to be with, not just, hey, I suddenly find myself of the age and it's time for me to settle down with someone. I just got here. Life is happening faster than I thought. I want kids. I want the house. But those men that I want it with, they're not settling, right? They're jumping around. There's another batch of women they can go and excite. They can have the dirty, nasty, filthy fun with. Or some of them aged out of that and they found someone else and they're doing their thing somewhere else. But that guy that's always been there, that steady rock, the rock of Gibraltar, he's right there. Let me go get with him. We never talk about what it's like for him. We just think, oh, he should be happy. No, he's miserable, right? He's miserable. He suddenly realizes, and this wasn't anything like he hoped it was going to be. It's not fantastic. It's not awesome. It sucks. It sucks. So outside of my genuine hate for, ace metaphor and the bad advice he typically gives out, that's very good at getting people to buy tickets. I'll give him that. It's very good at getting people to buy those tickets. This side is definitely more active over here. YouTube is having some troubles after that. After a little outage yesterday. But what are we supposed to do? We just got to show up and do what we can do. But over there, what you say, anyone else Blackfield at this point, it's hard not to be, right? Rangers, it's hard not to be. Everyone's always pretty great and exciting. Why run after someone in pursuit? Which you're that's a hard question to ask. If you've got everything that you need, right? And this is again part of the I guess we're a little bit overtime right now. This is part of the question that a lot of us end up asking ourselves as men when they tell us that we are lonely, right? And a lot of us are like, we're confused by that. I did a little bit of research and looked into the origins of that article and how they came up with the loneliness epidemic for men. And a lot of it is surveyed, is misinterpreted surveys. I think men have always understood loneliness has been part of our path, but you kind of grow not into it, you grow around it, you grow accustomed to it, you can deal with it. You understand that, and I'll put it in a very, very simple, but not simple terms. When we want to be with a woman, we just can't make it happen. I can't end the stream, go outside, pick up a woman in 5-10 minutes and have someone to cuddle with on a couch. Woman can do that. I'm not saying we're not talking about quality, right? We're just saying the ability to do that. That inability is what sometimes men are, what we're often confronted with. So we learn to adapt to it. We learn to say, cool, even if I'm trying, that doesn't mean I'm going to get the result. You learn how to deal with that. So you build your life around that, right? You build a wonderful life. And as you get older, you get more accomplished. You say, I kind of like my life the way it is. I like the way things are going. It's fun. It's exciting. Then you say, okay, now you go out there and date and you're like, I don't really see the need. Or if I'm not getting absolutely everything that I want, why am I even trying to make this puzzle piece fit? It doesn't seem to be a point. And then larger society will say, hey, you guys are checking out. You guys are lonely. Which is like, okay. Right? And that becomes one of the biggest talking points that we just kind of sit there and put that again and again. After the last Valentine's fiasco, we were stunned. So don't get it. Yeah, I tried to do a stream about that just yesterday. and I had a bunch of clips ready to go, and YouTube, shut it down. But one thing I wanted to pose in that was something very simple. When for such a long time we've talked about, or we've listened to women say, "Yo, I run a strict program." Okay, cool, right? You run a strict program. These men need not apply because these things that my dad does or my husband does would send these type of men into a coma. Okay, right? Okay, it's like for those of you that watch The Matrix, right, and watch The Matrix. The architect said there are several forms of life we're ready to accept. When you're talking about, yeah, we'll just destroy, Zion again. And I was like, yo, but you need us for batteries. Yeah, there's smaller forms of life we're ready to accept. Men have been like that. When you see a man with an apartment and it's just bare bones, but he's excited, he's happy. Yeah, we're fine with that. We do these other things to be attractive to other, but yeah, at certain point, men are fine with that. I'm just not going to do that. So when you run a strict program, run it, right? Fast and Furious, hit the nitro, run it. But then Valentine's Day comes up and you're like, yo, why so many single, gorgeous women out here? You ran a strict program. Like, you chase men away from the table. You say you don't want to settle. Okay, no one's actually going to settle. But the small 20, 10, 5, 1% men that you want, yeah, man, they built the life and they're like, okay, that's cool. They're not doing, was it Mantine's Day, Galentine's Day? They're just like, yo, cool, do what you want. I'm never going to stop you from saying, do what you want, especially when you're yelling and screaming about how awful men are. I'm not the one in the comment section trying to, tell you about yourself. I'm the one who's going to take your video and react to it and make a video. But I'm not going to sit there and shame you. I'm not that moved by it. And I think most successful men aren't. They see that and they're like, cool, enjoy yourself. Right? Enjoy yourself. When you screaming, hollering about the ills of men, cool, enjoy yourself. Because most of us are just going to do that. Hey, I wish you the best. Good luck, right? We were saying, yeah, it's entirely different things. Right? It's entirely different things. And as men, you've got to find that through line. You've got to try and understand what the intent behind what they're saying. And this is a viable thing. You can do this, right? This will take time. This will take effort. This will take energy. But what I found is that I'm only going to do it for the ones I care about. Right? It's the only ones I'm going to do for care about. Everyone else, you can talk to me like an adult. You can talk to me like an adult. You can say exactly what you want, what you mean, like an adult. If you can't get those things out, then I'm not going to do the heavy lifting for you. But listen, what we're going to do, right? I'm going to end this stream. I'm going to start another one. We're going to do a little bit of the Valentine Day stuff. So if you want to give me 5 minutes, you hop on, you'll see that up and running. But after that, guys, we'll be back next week for another, live show that we do enjoy putting on. Hopefully I'll see more of you guys there. But again, you guys are, my family that shows up all the time. I really thank you. Hopefully in 3, 4, 5 years, when this gets bigger, it's more mainstream, you guys will be like, hey, I remember that.